During COVID, our book was born from anxiety, love, and brand ethics discussions.
This was when the first few cases were unearthed in Seattle. The first 10, 11 cases on the planet, on the US, came from Seattle. So it was quite scary. There was a lot of anxiety. And, as outdoorsy as we are, we had to stay at home. And I was writing a paper with some co-authors on how COVID will impact marketing.
I think a lot of people during that COVID time, they found out I love my spouse, but I'm learning I don't like them, right?
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why the relationships get affected. Divorce rates go up, people start drinking a lot, alcoholism and all that. So I used that learning. I spoke to my wife and our daughter. I said, look, this is what I'm learning. This is what pandemics do. So let's have a game plan. And we had a very honest conversation between the three of us, how to distance ourselves from each other when we can't stand each other. When do we come together? How do we resolve problems? How do we, never raise a voice during these quarantine period, listen to each other, stay in different parts of the house, which is fine, but be communicative. And so we had a game plan, and grateful for my job that that game plan was in action. So that was one reason why we were able to write this book. The second reason was this: I was doing some research on brand transgressions with some co-authors. My wife's research is in business ethics and corporate social responsibility. And some of brand transgression related issues, they gel with corporate ethics, corporate and business ethics and corporate social responsibility, and clearly with brand strategy. So I started thinking about it. I said, we don't know how this pandemic is going to last. So we need to do some work. We need to create some value, So I asked my wife, what do you think about a book of this kind? It was a very random idea. So good for her. She's always circumspect about big ideas because she realizes that execution can take a long time. So we kept talking about it. And then we had these dinner table conversations. And our daughter chimed in with their perspectives, wife and me. And we just started talking about it. And one thing led to the other. And lo and behold, we started writing the first chapter. That's where it came from. Then we got help from somebody who did research for us. And then we wrote multiple drafts. We wrote probably 100, 150 drafts for this book over the course of 2.5 years. Then we went to publishers. And very fortuitously and fortunately, the publisher we published with, they approached us. And we talked to them. We thought they were really good people to work with. And that's how the book came about. We had probably 2 or 3 really bad arguments, but not anymore. Not anymore. So I think that learning where we discussed how to minimize conflict while we are quarantined was the backbone of our experience.
So back to the questions. Is there an example of a company you can tell us about where they didn't overcome transgression and it caused them to go out of business?
Yeah. Yes. We talk about 2 cases. One is in Japan and one is in the US. Let me talk about the Japan case first. It's more current, so to speak. It's a little more recent. There was a company called Snow Milk Products in Japan, considered to be a flagship brand for milk products in Japan. And 12,000 consumers fell sick from consuming their products. And the company's senior executives completely denied that it was their fault. They distanced themselves from the problem that these consumers were facing. They did nothing for these consumers. And later on, as the case unraveled, it was found that their production was at fault. The food poisoning took place during their production. And the company kept stonewalling, kept pushing back, kept resisting, kept attributing the blame. They actually, I think they basically said we had nothing to do with it. And later on, the media said they were lying. All the top executives were fired. The company closed down.